We last left our group splitting up for the night. Each of them had their own little source of investigation, something they were intrigued by about the recent events. Some of them geographical, some of them historical, some of them certainly supernatural. And we open tonight's story with our Ivory Claw, Thomas, on the phone from his apartment. He's calling a member of his pack. Who are you wanting to get in touch with, Thomas?
Kalia, because she should know ahead of everybody else.
So you get in touch with Kalia, your alpha. The phone rings, and she picks up very quickly. It's just before working hours, so you don't think you're going to be interrupting her too badly. We'll say it's about 8:30 in the morning.
Morning. Sorry to bother you this early.
Is this an emergency?
It might be. So the number that called the mobile at our pack meeting last night left a message that self-destructed. And the message said you don't belong with them without specifying anything else.
And do you think that was referring to your pack or your new bunch of friends?
I should hope it refers to the new bunch of friends, because I belong with a pack, but I'm afraid somebody's watching, and I'm afraid somebody's tracking me, and I'm not sure if I can figure out who it is by myself.
Well, rest assured that message wouldn't have come from anyone within this pack. You belong with us, whether you like it or not, Thomas.
Oh, I like it, but do you have a way of out of character? Do I still have the number, or was it like no number? Like
no number.
Oh, fair enough.
Your inkling is it was almost definitely a ghost in the machine, effectively.
Okay, so the main character, it might be supernatural in origin. I hope not, but I don't even know whether to hope not or not.
But when someone spooks you, Thomas, when someone lays down a threat or warning or something of that ilk, the first thing you do is, quite rightly, tell your friends. So, good work bringing it to my attention. Someone wants you to go the other way from one of your groups of associates. Now, all you can really do is continue with what you're doing and see whether those threats escalate. I have no doubt that if someone comes for you, physically, you will be able to handle them, at least in the short term, until you can bring your pack to bear, and if needs be, you can bring your new group of friends to bear, but make sure they stand in front of you. You are more important than them. You are, to use an oft-used term among our kind, more pure than them, more righteous than them, more deserving than them. They are all abomination, ultimately. So, if something is trying to divert you from your course, your cause as a werewolf, then you sacrifice your new day-old friends, you get to your pack, and then we handle the threat.
Of course. And again, sorry for bothering you. And
No. I appreciate you getting in touch. It shows your dedication. Now, have you been in touch with Pride yet?
I assumed that Pride would prefer to be in touch with me, but I don't want to...
Yes, don't go and visit him at his home.
Yes.
He does not like to be disturbed there. I'm sure he will reach out to you. He doesn't like using phones, though.
Do you have any... I mean, he'll tell me, but has he spoken anything... What have I done wrong?
I'm not sure. It's very strange for Pride to get so animated, quite frankly, about anything that's on in our rather mundane world. You know how obsessed he is with the shadow.
Yes.
So, unless you did something to violate a spirit, a totem, you insulted our totem in some way, or you're dabbling in things that he feels are his domain, then I couldn't tell you. I did ask him, and he described it as a personal matter.
Fair
and
enough.
That doesn't mean it is not my business, after all. You are all mine. But he said that it would be resolved swiftly and without bloodshed, so I can rely on the two of you to talk it out.
Absolutely.
Make sure I can rely on you, Thomas. Don't let me down.
Absolutely not. And right, I'll get to it. Thank you again.
She hangs up.
Right, so that I think Thomas is going to. How is the process of reaching out to the totems actually work? Is it would I have to step into the shadow? Would I have to just
to speak with your pack totem, you're more likely than not going to have to be with the rest of your pack for that. That your pack totem isn't, despite its observation nature, going to be over your shoulder constantly. Your personal totem, however, is a lot easier to reach. You've probably developed some kind of ritual, some kind of calling that brings your little cat to your side.
Fair enough. But do I have to step into the shadow to, I guess, see and kind of have an easier way of speaking with him, or is it?
Yeah, otherwise everything's going to come through to you in rather abstract terms.
That's true.
It can. Your totem can influence the real world, but yeah, unless you're in the shadow, you're not going to be able to speak with it directly.
Fair enough. So I'll no, I think I had the one harmony marked down so I can step into the shadow easily. So I'll step into the shadow and
Why don't you describe for me how your apartment looks in the shadow? I think this is probably the place that you killed your father.
Oh boy, yeah, that's very true.
If this is a place you commonly step through, and you're not wearing it too thin and attracting the wrong kind of spirit, what does the shadow version of your apartment look like? Is it idealized? Is it more horrific? Is it something out of your nightmares?
I think it's probably obsessively idealized. I mean, he's already kind of got obsessive compulsive tendencies in his life, and his apartment is very minimalist, very like just chrome glass, white furniture, very little decor. And I think the shadow version would be even more stripped down, but there will be more, I guess, more glass, more reflective surfaces, like anything that looks very clean, very appealing. It's like this ideal that he's striving towards. But I think if it is the place that he did kill his father, there might be just a black, almost like an ink mark wherever it happened, like maybe on the floor, or just as a permanent reminder of that there was an impure person in the apartment at some point, and this is where something happened.
And it's from that puddle, that stain, the gleaming pride. You have noticed the similarities of the name of your totem and your packmate, but you probably never pointed it out. Gleaming pride steps. A sleek cat, quite beautiful, quite enchanting. This is how this spirit, this totem, makes itself manifest. And it looks at you with loving eyes, accepting eyes, probably of all the entities you have ever known. Quite rightly, your totem is the closest one to you.
I still sort of like show my respect and sort of like I suppose bowing my head to it, because at the end of the day the totem is still not above me, but it's slightly greater in station. The spirits are kind of helping the pure rather than the other way around so much. And I say I'm sorry I've neglected you, and I'm sorry of what happened in the city club, which I understand is something that's dear to both of us as a peaceful place and a place to be free. As
Gleaming Pride stalks around you, you get to see its other side, and it's like it's been mauled. You can see some of the furs being scratched away. And it's not a stretch to imagine that this is an effect of a place of great importance to it being so damaged by last night's events.
Is there anything I can do to help you faster, to I don't know, to restore this fight like more quickly?
It speaks to you. Okay. You strengthen the faith.
My faith?
You make it safe again. You make the sanctuary safe again. You extend your territory. Extend our pride to the city club, as you call it. You make it a part of your territory. And you make sure nothing like this ever happens again.
Do you... Have there been going on? It's like, it just didn't seem natural what happened. I mean, what happened was horrible no matter what it was, but have you seen
hackles rise up and it hisses like a mundane cat would if threatened by something. The events of the previous night were supernatural, were born of corrupted shadow, were damaging. It reveals its side to you again, scored to the shadow as much as it was to the woman that burned.
Do you know where it originated?
No. When she came in, it was like a poisonous, toxic spirit of pollution walked through those doors. And I tried to reach out to you and warn you, but I could not. I was not stronger than it.
I'm sorry, I'll try to strengthen you. I will make this place my territory. I will do what I can. I'll figure this out somehow, and thank you, and just thank you in general.
There is something diseased. Beware, Thomas. This cancer in the club now. It will erode the flesh and the shadow, and through it you can expect to see far more rats than I can catch.
Wait, it's still in the club? It hasn't left?
Oh, the club is poisoned now.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, out of character, I'll make a note to figure out a way to purify if I can, or to maybe later on in the night approach the club in the shadow, but that will happen later. And in character, I'll say I'll visit again later tonight, and I'll try to figure something out, and I'll look for the rats if I can find any. Would you know? I know this is asking a lot, but not the woman, the person I was speaking with when the fire happened, is she a spider host?
No.
Is she a host of anything?
She is a vacuum. She has a hollow and a spark, but no spirit.
I guess that's both good and bad, but thank you.
There are others like her.
Are they dangerous?
Yes, because we can do very little to them. There is one in this city that you may wish to reach out to understand your companion, who I believe has good, friendly intentions. This is one once made of spirits, now all absent of life. Goes by the name Alison Martin.
Right. I'll track her down and speak to her at convenience. And the
Only if you want to know your friend better.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's more important things really at the moment. The last one, the beast. Should I be concerned?
Oh yes.
Can she access the shadow? Can she?
No, not to my knowledge, but she will feed on anyone around her. She does not discriminate like a vampire might choose a prey. If anyone has dreams of wicked things, tries to keep secrets from her, she will not discriminate. She will take, she will harvest, she may give some back. She may thank you, but she will take and she will take and she will take. I have a lot of sympathy for her.
Just in terms of needing to grow, needing to understand?
Well, many spirits, many totems are the same as these primordials. We like to take from those who call us guardians. It rubs itself along your legs.
Oh, I mean, for me, it's not a taking; it's a giving. You do know that, right?
Exactly.
Right. I'll be off and see what those three are up to, and thank you for coming by and just. I feel a lot better, and I'll do anything it takes to fix things.
My home is your home.
And my home is also your home.
The four of you meet. Where would all of you... You didn't arrange to meet, but I'm going to say that you have. Where would the four of you meet up after all this took place? What's a safe communal area? Connor, any thoughts?
Oh, I mean, yeah, absolutely. There's this really, really nice coffee and breakfast place that I love to go to after a long night out. So absolutely, that'd be wonderful for the group of us. I mean, it really fits our mystique, as it were.
Wonderful. So that's where you go, barring any objections.
Who can object to that?
Exactly. Thomas is going to be a little late, as he spends a little bit of time in the shadow. So the three of you are there first, meeting up again, refreshed after the night. Well, I say refreshed. Liza is looking a bit ragged around the edges. She does need a lair. It's not good for a beast to just be on the move constantly.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Just sipping my coffee here.
If you say so.
Is it a bad morning?
What would make it a bad morning?
I'm not sure. Car ran over your foot. Sick dog.
Being almost totally cut off from your actual soul because you're in a strange place where you don't know anything, kind of.
Yeah, being cut off from your actual self because you're stuck in a strange place. I don't know anything about that. Not at all.
I don't think I have one of those things.
You can just make one. They're a dime a dozen in the right place. Souls are what make you you. So as long as you're a you have one. Maybe it's just like a little one. Tiny one.
What does it look like? I can't find it. Why?
Usually you can only see them if you can like see ghosts.
The waiter comes to your table at that point. Morning, Connor.
Morning. How you doing?
I hear you giving some people a ghost talk again.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go to the railway museum, and I'm gonna show them around there.
Oh,
yeah.
Heard about that place in the news a few months ago.
It's still creepy. I don't suggest going there regularly, but it's worth at least going there and getting that feel down your spine.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some excellent ghost walks around the city. I think we've got some pamphlets by the counter if you want to. But no, Connor knows all this. Coffee for all three of you?
With like 10 extra shots of espresso, please.
You got it.
That. Just what she's having.
Okay.
I'll have my regular.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
The waiter parts ways, and Thomas arrives. I'm just getting drinks, sir, but if do you want anything?
Just water. Can I get just some bacon, maybe?
No, well, that's what we're good at. So yes, of course, I'll get you some bacon and a roll, and a glass of tap still
sparkling. Yeah,
sparkling water. And off it goes. Comes back very shortly after with your order. So, motley crew.
So what? If you guys figured anything out while we parted ways, what?
Yeah, we're talking about doing a ghost tour today.
To find the ghost of the woman who burned herself to death?
No, I didn't find the ghost of my soul.
Oh, well, no. The soul wouldn't be a ghost. I just think people who can see ghosts can also see souls. Because it doesn't exist in, like, the normal world. It exists in, like, one of these esoteric realms. I don't know a lot about it, but a soul isn't, like, you don't have, like, it's not like your heart or like a gem that sits, in your chest somewhere. It's like it exists, but in another realm. Like floats around with your body.
Just like energy.
For explaining.
Liza would chime in if mentions of other realms and suggest Twilight, because she's
sure
learned on these things.
Y'all know more about this than I do. I don't like the other realms I've been to.
Right, but so ghost tour to where?
Oh, the railway museum.
Why?
Is the waiter there at the moment?
No, he's serving someone else.
Okay. Some significant supernatural shenanigans went on there not that long ago. And our beast friend, Liza here, needs to be able to be in a place like that to better attune to the area. Something like that.
I'm going to drag the memories of what happened there into my soul.
There we go. That's a more concise and creepier way to put it. So, what she said, but so she needs to do that to be able to like get in contact with her full self. And I figured Railway Museum, definitely the local supernatural creepy spot.
Yep, you're not kidding. Yes. Are we planning on staying there? Is that going to be? Are we going to camp out there, or does she need to? Is that how it works?
Take long, I don't think. usually places that have left an impact, it's a pretty clear resonance to follow. Oh, also, we did some research last night, and at this point, Liza would recount the comparisons they made between the official story that they had uncovered versus the documents she had in her library, in her lair. I mean, she would remember it much better than I would because of that eidetic memory, so we'll recount verbatim the entire interaction of the night before to Thomas.
That's about the dig and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did she? Maybe she found something that I don't know. I'm not
Opened
great
up
at
something that
digging
had
through
been.
the past. Yeah.
Yeah, but have you ever seen a mummy movie? This is obvious. Archaeological dig, open a thing, curse, not necessarily a mummy. I mean, mummies don't exist, but like a mummy. That's totally a thing. Curses? I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
The town could just be cursed because of that.
And they sealed it away at some point in the past, so now it has to get sealed again?
Okay. I mean, it at least sounds like something that's doable, which is good as soon as we figure out what it actually is. So.
Supposedly the Court of Winter was involved in another time this was fixed. We only have a single member of that in the town at the moment, but one is more than zero.
That's true. Yeah. Can you speak to him about it? Would you remember?
Oh no, he's not from here. He's actually visiting.
Oh, good.
And found out that all of the others left or are dead. I think left, but I'm not sure. So he's kind of
been told by royalty that this is our problem anyway, so that happened.
Yeah, this is one of those people need to look into it. I'm sure there's help to be found, but figuring out what the hell is going on, at least on a basic level, is probably a good first step. Because curse that makes people really angry and burn themselves, I mean, okay, that's a starting point, but that's not enough to look into further, I don't think. We need more than that. Also, I think there's a hand being raised at the table.
Isn't that what people do when they want to talk?
It is in usually more of a scholastic setting. However, as I saw your hand up and now I'm gesturing for you, I guess it worked perfectly fine. So please, go right ahead.
Thank you for explaining. There was somebody outside of the club. Liza saw them and we didn't go talk to them.
Vampire.
Oh, the vampire.
Sure. That. Maybe he knows what happened. Maybe he saw something go in or come out, so we could ask him. Maybe.
On an out of character, do the changeling courts here have any real relationship with the local vampires other than we leave you alone, you leave us alone?
Yeah, probably again not the spring court at any rate.
No, definitely not the spring court.
Yeah, I think there's every possibility maybe someone from Summer, although that's a pretty thin court here.
Yeah. Maybe Autumn if they're really into fear.
Yeah, exactly. Autumn may have some Nosferatu contacts.
Yeah.
But
not much.
Yeah, there's not much cross-pollination.
And there wouldn't be. They're honestly really creepy.
Yeah, no, none for us either. There's just something about the living and the dead that shouldn't go together.
I just worry about diseases.
The best, what you've found in your limited attempts to find out about other supernatural creatures in the region, is usually the best people to ask are individuals like Liza, because they tend to have families and are connected to one or more other creatures, and hunters, because they have to know what threats there are in the region, especially if they are powerfully connected hunters. The risk, though, of approaching hunters, asking them about vampires, is they may just try and kill you, or run away, or not be inclined to release that information.
Well, there's a theoretical hunter friend in town, is there not?
Theoretically, yes.
And even if that hunter friend isn't in town, if we figure out where they were living, maybe there's notes or a cell phone or something. Okay, order of operations, guys. What are we thinking? I still think it sounds like the Railway Museum's really important for Liza to get her head on.
It would be great.
So that seems first.
Yes,
do you
let's
know?
get her
Yeah. Do you know?
head on, as it were, yeah.
Do you know where that hunter friend was staying? Can we go and check up on them, or is that is that going to take more digging?
I might be able to figure that out, actually.
Because that might be we want to look into this dig, but knowing a little bit more about the lay of the local land might make us less likely to stumble into a punji stick trap, real or metaphorical.
So at this point, I would like to use my usage of Mimir's wisdom to ask a specific question of the storyteller. Where was the hunter staying?
Benjamin Vandermar, I believe was his name, was seen to have a long-term residence at one of the hotels in the city. Let me just check. Notes.
And of course, by drawing on the atavism, she gets all weird swarm of lettery things again for everyone who can see.
Yes, so currently, by all means, describe what everyone else is seeing.
So it's come up before, but essentially like a swarm of sentient letters, symbols, runes, whatever, all black, just kind of swarming all around her and inside her, and thoroughly creepy. And like I said, Maya probably thinks they're nanobots.
So you can glean from this information, you can, no one else can, that Vandermar was staying at the Dan Hostel in Odense City, which is, as the name implies, it is just a hostel, so he may have even been sharing a room. Certainly, from your memory of him, he was more uptight and, one might say, even wealthy than to stay in a hostel. But you don't know what mission he was sent on, why he was there. He could have been spying on someone.
So he was staying in a hostel, but it's not really like him. Of course, sending the random message to me out of nowhere after I left the order is also not really like him. But I know the name of the place. We can probably find it, head there after the Railway Museum, see if there's anything left of him or his things. I would love to get my hands on any of his journals.
I mean, that sounds worth looking into at the very least. So, how about we head out to the Railway Museum after we get our... we already have our drinks. I'm not sure we have our bacon and roll yet.
That was delivered quietly while the waiter
Wonderful.
may have tried to listen into your conversation and really picked up on nothing.
Mm-hmm. So once everyone's done eating, drinking, and having way too much caffeine because they don't understand 10 espresso shots is a poor choice, we are probably good to go for the Railway Museum. How far away from where we currently are is it? We need to rent a car, take a taxi, or is it walkable?
You could probably just get a taxi. It's easy enough. Won't take you more than 30 minutes.
Okay. We'll use whatever local taxi or taxi service there is and get our butts over there, I think, unless anyone has any objections.
No, and Thomas is paying, so...
Sure.
Thunder over here.
I'm never going to complain about somebody saying, "Oh, I'll pick that up." Like, eh.
So while they're in the taxi, Thomas discreetly texts Kalia about the primordial and everybody heading to the railway station, and kind of just saying that seems concerning. Should the pack come? Should I stop them? Should I do something? But yeah, just text it obviously, and like trying to keep a poker face while he's doing it, because we're sitting in the cab together, not to have anybody notice.
You get a response almost instantly that says, "Go, I'll send backup."
Yeah, and yeah, I'll not respond because that just it'll just be blabbering. But yeah, I'll go with them.
We last left our group as they decided to head to the Railway Museum, in part because it sounded like the ideal place for our beast Liza to make a lair, but also because our werewolf Thomas has had some run-ins here before with Beshaloo rat spirits, Shatha of the ancient plague god himself. According to Thomas's pack, they had been wiped out. It was a victory. It was something the pack celebrated quite widely and loudly. But there are always rumours that there's something horrible going on at the Railway Museum, and so we turn to our characters as they approach this building on the outskirts of Odense, drab, grey, surrounded by car parks that are mostly devoid of cars. There's about half a dozen out the front. It could easily accommodate 30 or 40, but clearly tourists don't stop by here anymore. At least not so much. Maybe it's all the horrible rumours that have spread around the place about children going missing and horrible accidents occurring. And yet despite all of that, you all know, those of you who have been in Odense for a while, that the police never really took action. It's one of those blind spots where supernatural events may well occur and mortals just turn the other way. On the desk at the front of the museum, ready to hand out a map and a little audio guide so you can be shown around all the engines and told about them in your chosen language, is a very tired looking old man. He's got whiskers on his face where he's clearly chosen not to shave. He's got a small pair of spectacles perched on his nose, and it takes him a while to actually look up at you. Immediately upon approaching this museum, you can all sense something is deeply wrong here. For our changeling Connor, it's as if this is a place of nightmare. It's quite clear this is a place where people get lost and perhaps are never found again, and so there's a deep resonance. For Maya, a Promethean who so keenly wants to learn what it is to be human, there's something utterly inhumane that frays the edges of her spark, that wants to snuff it out, wants to suppress the fire within her. And for the werewolf, for Thomas, the most unsettling thing is the immediate whispers in his head from his totem, from Gleaming Pride, that this place is unsafe and it must be cleansed. Well, the only member of the group who feels at all warm here and welcome is Liza. This is a place of nightmare. This is a place of horror. She can sense it, and even peripherally it fills her stomach a little. Over to you. What are you doing?
So one quick question out of character. Are we retaining any of the, because I don't remember exactly when it happened, when she had her vision of what had happened here?
Yeah, by all means, you can describe it because viewers won't have seen that bit. So, what is your vision?
So Liza remembers seeing a vision of there was a child who had been taken somewhere dark into, if I remember correctly, placed into a type of contraption, an engine, if you will, of sacrifice, if I am remembering correctly. And more than that, though, like the memories in the primordial dream here went back quite a ways. It wasn't just what had happened last week. It had continued to extend back in time. This is a place where not only have bad things happened, but they have continued to happen and continued to happen and continued to happen. And while she's grateful for the opportunity to build a chamber, that warns her a little bit to be a little cautious here. She's not going to say anything in front of the desk to her peers. Mostly just going to suggest, hey, let's take the tour. Let's go in and see what we can find.
The old man looks up at you. Oh, not from around here. Out of towners.
The rest of them are, yes.
Yeah, I pointed at the changeling and I say, we've been before. Yeah. We're showing the friends around, so.
Well, usually I recognize a face, especially the locomotive enthusiasts around the city. I can't say I recognize you, but he says, looking at Thomas. But that's fair enough. You're looking for 4 tickets and the full tour?
Yes, and I just sort of take out my credit card and pay for the whole party.
Well, it's your lucky day because the museum's all but clear. You've got the run of the place, so enjoy yourself. Feel free to ask any questions of any of the staff that you see around here. I think we're expecting a school visit in a week or so it'll be nice to hear some noise in here, but I really hope you 4 enjoy it. Really hope you pick something up here.
Thank you, and we'll be off.
That's
out of character, that didn't sound ominous at all.
He's handed each of you, if you take it, a map and one of those little listening devices, should you wish to listen to the tour as you walk around the museum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, we might as well, just so we don't kind of stand out too badly in this memory. Just average tourists doing the touristy thing. So.
Liza's actually gonna give it a really good review, try and memorize any of the details in there with eidetic memory.
Mm-hmm. In that case, I'm not going to make you roll for that. The tour is a pretty simple one. It takes you through the history of steam engines and diesel engines that operated in this part of the world and beyond. It's actually a pretty thorough museum. While it's a school of interest that particularly bothers you, it's always nice to pick up new information. Your study of the map does also highlight to you various interesting facilities. You've got the gift shop there, you've got the security office, you've got a couple of guide stations, and you can look across the museum, which is essentially like a hangar, and you can see some guides. Some of them are standing around talking to each other. One is reading a book. They're clearly not pressed for time or energy. Whatever it is they're doing isn't a drain on them. Also looking around the museum, you see, of course, multiple trains, engines, tractors, and the like. It's pretty impressive if this is your thing. Sadly, though, it isn't.
So once the group is a little bit further away from the staff, Liza would address her and be like, so I need to be a little darker in order to do my thing. We could try and head somewhere darker, or if anyone's interested, we might be able to try and find a way to kill the lights for the whole place. And that could be an interesting endeavor afterwards. It would definitely give me a firmer foothold in the area than just heading down to some basement.
Would the foothold hold after the lights were put back on?
Oh yeah. I just need a couple moments to kind of really digest things.
That mention of the basement, Thomas's skin crawls. It was in the basement where his pack took on the nastiest, the greatest of these Beshlu, the so-called ministers. But he could proudly think to himself, they were ripped to shreds. They were scattered to the four winds, and if there were any Beshlu left, there weren't nearly enough of them to pose a constant threat. Those kinds of creatures are cowards. Those kinds of spirits don't hang around in a place for long.
So I don't know, I guess we could start by heading down to the basement, see what it looks like, see what's there.
Yeah.
Thomas kind of bristles a little bit, but figures he might as well go along. I don't know if I should roll for this, but I want to see him try to see if I can pick up a scent of something, if there's anything left. Just out of paranoia.
Yeah, sure. I'll let you go for that. Make a roll.
Right, primal urge and...
Which attribute would you like to pair with primal urge in this case?
Good question. Wits, maybe? No.
I think wits is probably appropriate, yeah. Let's go for wits.
Okay.
The only reason I was wavering on whether it was intelligence, because this would be an odor you're recollecting, but I think, or recalling, I should say, but wits works perfectly well.
One success.
One success. There's definitely still the vague odor that you remember. It was cloying in your nostrils, of fetid rat, of chewed up insides. But that may well be memorial. You know, you maybe just be smelling it because that's how you remember this place. And it's difficult to wash out that kind of smell.
I'll kind of bristle at it, but just continue down the stairs as well.
As you're heading towards where you know the basement to be, which is through a door marked staff only. As it happens, nobody is watching. No one really seems to care. And so, making your way through the staff only door, which is unlocked, isn't a great ordeal. Are all four of you heading in that direction?
Maya doesn't like it, but she feels more secure having Liza around because she knows that Liza, at the very least, will keep her cool around Maya, and that's important for Maya. So she's gonna stick with her, I think.
Yeah, for now, absolutely.
Liza is gonna hide behind the werewolf and let him lead the way downstairs.
Thomas sort of he's fairly. Now he's definitely more confident about the rats having been pretty much gone, so he just kind of continues down to see if anything has changed.
It has changed down in the basement as you make your way down. It's still, a basement that can be lit. It's a workshop more than anything else, where various pieces of locomotive and engine have been taken for service, polishing, and so on. But this particular room, it sets all of you on edge. No roll is required to determine that something is horribly wrong down here. Something that disturbs each of you in your own particular ways. For Liza, even though, again, there's a certain amount of this horror that tantalizes. That rusted old engine in the center of the room essentially is a barrel. Could be an iron lung, but with more pumps and pistons surrounding it. It calls to you. It's a beacon of fear, of despair. And worryingly to Thomas, you remember this engine. You remember your packmates taking great pains to essentially viciously dismantle this engine. Because as Kalia described it, this was a gateway, an open gate through to the shadow, through to Hisil. And yet here it stands, reconstructed, still rusty, and you remember exactly what was piled up inside it last time. As for Connor, this isn't a gateway to the hedge. You're pretty good at spotting them. This is possibly something even worse. You interpret it in flashes. In a way, there's a ripple, a blur in reality, and in others, as a void into absolute nothingness. Perhaps most disturbingly of all, Maya, down there, able to see all of this. You just feel so distinctly human right now. You feel revolted, you feel disgusted, you feel scared.
Maya has absolutely no idea what to do with these feelings. Her biggest priority is to stop feeling them because she has no idea what to do with them. So she's going to kind of tug on Liza's arm and say, I don't want to be here. And without waiting for anyone's permission or anything, she goes back up the stairs because that's just, she's not okay with feeling those things, especially if she can't do anything about them.
I was be like, okay, just keep watch up there. This won't be long. And kind of close her eyes, and despite her misgivings, she's acting out of desperation at this point and kind of focus on absorbing the reflection of this place and the primordial dream into her lair. Give herself that foothold. Which makes her hungry in the process, and she's already starving, so all kinds of discomfort layering up here.
Well, our Inguma beast, Liza, is particularly hungry right now. She has gone so long without a decent lair in this rancid city. Maybe this is what it takes, something so rich in fear. And so, yes, you close your eyes. Are you intending on shutting down the lights in this room?
Oh yeah, if the lights are lit, definitely power those off before beginning.
How do Connor and Thomas feel about that?
Not great. I think at some point Thomas is going to wait while she focuses, but since Gleaming Pride has power over electric lights, he's going to try to, I guess, either quietly sign or kind of speaking the first tongue to ask to turn the lights back on because he doesn't trust what the primordial is doing to the place.
Okay, so as Liza takes the very mundane step, which is completely reasonable, of flicking the light switch off, the lights flicker and buzz back on. It's like the room itself is combating your ability to drag it into your lair.
Oh boy, this is not great. Kind of the entire reason we're here. Is there anything either of you can do about this? Would she have heard the first tongue? Like, she doesn't understand it. Would she have heard Thomas say something before that happened?
Yeah, if anything, that would be a pleasant distraction because, yes, you've just heard a language you've never heard before. And so, while it's disruptive and may well be the cause of it, it's piqued your curiosity. If anything, it's made you even more hungry.
So at that point, she'd kind of turn to Thomas and be like, "You have anything to do with this?"
Do you need darkness or dimness?
Dim is fine. Just a few seconds in the dark is all I need.
How
Or
many?
dim.
So this is a basement, correct? So, are
Mhm.
these hanging light bulbs? Are these like what's the actual light setup down?
The lights are embedded. Well, they're in the walls essentially. You've got glass bulbs around the room in wire cages.
Okay. I'll pick up a tool of some sort. There's lots of them,
There are.
and just go around and start smashing the light bulbs. Just maybe one out of every two, though, because he only needs dim.
Mm-hmm. As you go around smashing light bulbs within your head and into your ear, Thomas, you're hearing the hissing of a cat in distress.
Oh,
Now,
no!
Meanwhile, up on the surface where Maya is, again, despite her inhuman nature, essentially taking a breather from all of this, a man exits the staff-only door. A strange-looking man for his slender features, indeed almost stick-thin arms and legs, and apple-shaped body. He is clad in overalls, something sickly and unnatural to him. His eyes narrow, and he twitches a little as he sees Maya. "Can't you read?" He points. "Staff only."
Maya ignores the sign because she doesn't really care, and looks at his stomach and asks, "Why are you so much rounder than other people?"
"Life's been good to me. Why don't I escort you out back to the museum, madam? You're not supposed to be here. I'm one of the engineers here. That's my work down there. Why don't you come with me?"
If your work is down there, then why do you want to go out there? That doesn't make any sense. And on that note, she's going to turn around and try to go back downstairs.
"No, you don't." He strides over to you and plants his hand on your right shoulder. "That is restricted access. Not for tourists."
Well, I'm not a tourist. I'm a Maya, so I'm going where I'd like. She's going to try and jerk her shoulder away, and she's calling out to Liza at this point because it's a creepy guy touching her shoulder.
Is it dimmed in the basement now?
It is. Yes, it is dimmed in the basement.
So Liza would have followed through because she does need that poor light to actually drag it through for the initial time. With that done, I imagine she's able to hear Maya calling out her, I assume.
Yes, although, before you do, feel free to describe how this chamber adding to your lair feels and looks.
So the heart of Liza's lair is a maze of book stacks. She calls it the library. It's very difficult to navigate, and there's actually almost a limitless amount of books and knowledge in there. It's one of those kind of eldritch geometries that doesn't really have defined limits. But as she drags the reflection of this place into her lair, I see a lot of those kind of spilling out down the stairs in the dream, the books that is, and then kind of the walls being covered with and highlighted by strange languages and runes, and some not so strange languages. There's probably some English here and there, and there's probably some languages no one has ever spoken. And the books would kind of move as if on their own as they assemble themselves into corners and all around the room, but they would all, none of it would really encroach upon the the reflection, I guess you would say, of where that engine is. Although she's making her mark on this place in the dream, she's even at a subconscious and instinctual level very wary of that area, and so the area immediately around it would still be relatively untouched by her influence.
Very good. I'm going to add one little thing to that. Where the engine is, in reality, in your lair, there is an absolute void, a black hole, a cavern that even you would not wish to step in or delve into. It feels like it would absorb secrets. If ever you were taken with the idea of stealing people's thoughts and destroying them entirely, this is where you would put them.
That is a difficult thing for her to wrap her brain around, destroying people's secrets. So that's got some conflict down in her soul now.
Well, of course, this all takes place within a matter of seconds, and you hear Maya calling out your name, and of course Connor and Thomas hear it as well. Thomas also hears the voice of gleaming pride in his ear, whispering, they're back, cleanse this place, cleanse this place."